Well, it happens to be Wednesday, Poetry Day, and have I got a treat for you. Before I even start, this is going to be rather halting, but I think you'll understand why when I get to it. The book is The Lost Spells by Robert MacFarlane and Jackie Morris. Notice that wonderful owl that is heading down from the night sky, an exquisite book. And I always love this when it has a marker within. But I'm going to take the cover off because, you know, I've always told you, you've got to look at the whole package that is the book. This book, oh, just a blue cover, nothing to it. Oh, how wrong, how wrong. Put your hand over it. All of a sudden you see the indentation of a moth's wing. Down below, indentation of another moth's wing. It's blue on blue and texture, perfectly magical, front and back. Of course, you flip open the book, and if you're into, how shall we say, bugs, you recognize so many different moths therein. It's a big hint about what's to come. This image, which could be in and of itself fine. Of course, you know who the owl is, the sidekick of Athena. She represents wisdom, and that happens to be a barn owl perched on a key. That's going to figure a little later. Oh, and I love this. This is a book to love. And there's a book plate that's built in, and you can actually sign that and identify that it is your book as opposed to anybody else's book. And in opening, and I've got to show you this, look at that beautiful painting of a bird, a jackdaw. This is a book of spells to be spoken aloud. It tells its stories and sings its songs in paint and word. Here you will find incantations and summoning charms, spells that protect and spells that protest, tongue twisters, blessings, lullabies, and psalms. Here you might swoop with the swallow, follow a seal through the sea, or sky race with swifts. Here you can listen with owl ears and watch with the eyes of an oak. Here a fox might witch into your mind, or flocks of moths may lift from the page and fill the air. Loss is the tune of our age. Hard to miss, hard to bear. Creatures, places, and words disappear. Day after day, year after year. But there has always been singing in dark times, and wonder is needed now more than ever. To enchant means both to make magic and to sing out. So let these spells ring far and wide, speak their words, seek their art. Let the wild world into your eyes, your voice, and your heart. And we begin. Such a face. Renard the fox. Obviously, he has something to impart. Red Fox. I am Red Fox. How do you see me? A bloom of rust at your vision's edge, the shadow that slips through a hole in the hedge. My two green eyes in your headlights rush, a scatter of feathers, the tip of a brush. Look at that disappearing tail. Look at the feathers floating. Oh, such a face. I am Red Fox. When do you hear me? A scream in the night that stops you dead. Dark torn from dark, a bolt through the head. My sorrowful love song howl to my lover. My trash can clatter from twilight's cover. I am Red Fox. Where do you find me? In a copse and spinney, gindle and alley, for I haunt city as I haunt valley. Climbing the fell side, crossing the pass, walking the high street, bold as brass. Look at him strut. I am Red Fox. What do you call me? Shifter of shapes and garbage raider, bearer of fire and space invader, taker of risks and riddle maker, messenger, trickster, curfew breaker. I am Red Fox. Why do you need me? I am your double, your ghost, your other, the spirit of wild, the spirit of weather. Red is my fur and red is my art, and red is the blood of your animal heart. Look into the eyes of the Red Fox. Oh no. I think he's left us. What's ahead? Look at the moon. A silhouette on top an endless sky. It looks like a moth. 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 This one soft word falls so far short of what the moth world means, of moths in number birthed by dark to flock round torch and lamp and porch, together, thickening air to froth, then cloth, then weather, a surprise. Open up this soft world's wings and outrush names and forms, a broth of colors, cinnabar and scarlet tiger, frosted green and angle shade, bordered pearl and tamarisk plume, diamond back, oh, and clouded silver. Thinner and thinner wears the cloth, however. Moths pass out of sight, beyond belief. Their absence briefly noted, if at all, as distant memory, half forgotten grief from that assault of color on the previous page. Look, you can see through the picture of the moth to the page behind it. Back to color. Hold moth names in mouth and mind for a while. Satin, lute string, willow, ermine, feathered thorn, and seraphim, forester, and dusky clear wing. Sing them out into the night to give moths back their range, their flight. And remember, that first moth was but a silhouette against the moon. Now here is a moth that's one with the sky, and he's apart from the moon, but headed in that direction. Look at that. What a change from darkness to an explosion of light. Daisy. Daisy, the day's eye, 10-a-penny chain maker. Acre upon acre of tiny suns turn skyward. I would braid you into bracelet and coronet, necklace and ring, sing of you as jewels of the meadow, gems of the lawn, yawning open every dawn, closing up each dusk. Daisy, the day's eye. As a child, did you ever make one of these? I know, I did. Oh, and look at that. A moth coming to a daisy plant. We're in for something. Look at that next page. Oh, how dark. Look at those eyes, how scary. Jackdaw. Jackdaw. Circling the back door. Showing off your knack for letting rip that high caw. Cutting like a hacksaw through the evening's calm core, giving it the jaw. Always with the comeback, coal black crackerjack, joker of the haystack, ready with a wise crack, giving it the backtrack. Look at that. Castle clatterer, silence shatterer, tractor troubadour, talker and squawker in fable and folklore, from a farmyard to seashore, giving it the nevermore. Do you remember? We read The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Quoth the raven, nevermore. King of the chimney stack, the belfry bivouac, bright-eyed steeple-jack from church tower to tamarack, giving it the snicker-snack. Now, you may say, snicker-snack, that sounds familiar. Well, another poem that you and I have read together was from Lewis Carroll. And with his vorpal blade went snicker-snack. Obviously, these charms and poems benefit from poets of the past. Don't call her crow, or rook, or raven, for she is jackdaw, gray-headed outlaw, fighting the class war, dipping down on quick wings to hijack a wedding ring or ransack a knick-knack or snatch up a gim-crack while giving it the guffaw. If you don't look closely, you'll miss something important. Notice the jackdaw has a bright golden wedding ring in her claw. As dusk darkens, jackdaws gather to shake out feathers, jam-pack the brickwork, pick through the tide rack, nestle in the bed straw, duck through the trapdoor, fossick on the barn floor, bushwhack the ivy, gossip in the sycamore, this close to sleep, still giving it the click-clack. Notice the jackdaw has, you wouldn't believe how difficult it is when everything is opposite, has the golden ring in its beak. Why not learn the jackdaw beatbox, the jackdaw seesaw, the jackdaw uproar, the zigzag rip-rap jackdaw soundtrack, pulling up the ripcord furthermore and evermore, giving it the chainsaw, the whip-crack, the hee-haw, giving it wherefore, why for, therefore, the jackdaw. Ah, within the prison bars. Oh, look, a bird of color. I wonder what it is. Answer my question. Jay. Jay, Jay, plant me an acorn. I will plant you 1,000 acorns. Acorn, acorn, grow me an oak. Oh, I will grow you an oak that will live for 1,000 years. Year, fledge me a jay. I will fledge you a jay that will plant you 1,000 acorns that will each grow 1,000 oaks, that will each live 1,000 years, that will each fledge a bright back, giving back forest making jay. Oh, the circle of life. What's that in his beak? Not a golden ring, but an acorn. What's that tree in the back? An oak tree. Look at the leaves. Look at the jays. Such beautiful colors against the night sky. And look at that. I'm taking you page by page through this book. Anything else would be a total affront. Gorse. Now, some of you may not know what a gorse is. I had to check it out. In the back of this book is a dictionary, and it's all alphabetical. And I went to the G, and I found on 28 a picture, and it is a picture of Gorse, Ulex europaeus. Gorse. Good luck trying to force your way through gorse. Better setting out across a field of spears, a lake of pikes, a sky of hawks, 100 winters. Better getting dealt 1,000 scratches by 1,000,000 splinters. Out of crags and hedges, cliffs and ledges, gorse, jags, spikes, crackles, raises hackles, speaks sharply, keep out, stay back, get off my land. Room is made by gorse, though. Space is braced for redstart rabbit, wheat ear plover. Quiet life is harbored in its crisscross places. See into gorse. Get past its guard and pick a path toward its well-defended heart. The secrets kept within its limits. Each of us is partly made of gorse, of course, prickly, cussed, hard to parse and tough to handle, all helter-skelter points and angles, but only ever really seeking love and giving shelter. So you see, the gorse is a plant of many possibilities. Oh, look at that. The rabbit in the gorse. Look at that. So many things going on in this universe with gorse amidst it. Look at that. I almost feel like I'm flying when I look at this. All those wings, all embracing. Swifts. Spin, world, spin. Swifts are here again, shredding the sky in their hooligan gangs, those hard brake turners, those wheelie pullers, those flyers up of afterburners. So, whirl, birds, whirl. You havoc creakers, you thrill seekers, you gung-ho joy bringers, spring harbingers, you drifting, gliding, sleep on the wingers. So, imagine. Now, imagine just how far and fast these swifts have flown to be here. The deserts crossed non-stop, the seas traversed, the mountain ranges spanned. So fly, heart, fly. Follow swifts on their screaming tours to flicker far out over oceans. Hunt a storm cell's shifting edge, or pierce a cloud's slow motion. So think now, think if 1 year swifts did not appear, the sky unriven, rooftops silent, all the watchers waiting, hoping for a gift that stays ungiven. So look at the desolation, the chimney tops. Nothing in the sky. You turn terrible thing. Until, spin, world, spin, and send swifts back and back again to us, again. And look, better times are coming. The swifts are returning to the skies. Look at that little stab of color amidst the branches and the silhouettes. Oh, I've got to tell you, there's a book that was published, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe more, called The Goldfinch. Movie was made out of it. The book was very popular. And a group of my friends here actually got up a group and we read it. And let me tell you, the book is that thick and very heavily plotted and quite interesting. But a goldfinch does indeed appear. Goldfinch. See how one thing leads to another, leads to another. Books are like landmarks along the way from one idea to another. God knows the world needs all the good it can get right now. Out in the gardens and fields, goldfinches are gliding, gilding the land for free, leaving little gifts of light, a gleam for the teasel, a glint for the tree. Did you hear their high scattered song, their bright wings flitter, falling around you as flecks, as grains, as glitter? Imagine the loss of their luster, the lack of their sheen. No more shimmer, a worrying absence of guilt. Charm on, goldfinch, charm on. Heaven help us when all your gold is gone. And look at that goldfinch feather. Just a little bit of guilt left. A Midas moment. Look at all the goldfinches. Oh, look at that. What an old tree. What a magnificent trunk. The branches. And there stands a buck with his mighty horns. Strangely enough, oak. Out on the hill, old oak stands, stag-headed, fire-struck, bare-crowned, stubbornly holding its ground. Poplar is the whispering tree. Rowan is the sheltering tree. Willow is the weeping tree. And oak is the waiting tree. 300 years to grow, 300 more to thrive, 300 years to die, 900 years alive. Ancient oak hears with ancient ears, sees with ancient eyes, the snow of another winter, the glow of a new sunrise. Birch is the watching tree. Cherry is the giving tree. Ash is the burning tree, and oak is the waiting tree. 300 years to grow, 300 more to thrive, 300 years to die. 900 years alive. And look at that cherry tree. Not shows through silver grain through bark, but each fresh spring brings oak green leaves again. Holly is the witching tree. Beech is the writing tree. Elder is the quickening tree. And oak is the waiting tree. 300 years to grow. 300 more to thrive. 300 years to die. 900 years alive. And there is the elderberry. You have not lived unless you've had elderberry pie or elderberry jam. That's a treat. Oh, do you know the oak we saw so barren? Look at it. Goodness, it is thriving there. Remember Albrecht Dürer, the rabbit? How reminiscent. Snow hare. Snow hare whitens as the year turns dark by the cairn of the wolf in the glen of the loch. Night grows stronger. Sleet falls sharp on crag and moor by the burn of the deer on the eagle's tor. Out on the hill, hare hunkers under hag, hides in heather by the loch of the buzzard at the pass of the weather. Where's the cold? Vanishes into spindrift, hail, blizzards, flight. Look at that. I can feel the cold. Hare walking is graceless. All long-limbed levers by the salmon river on the road of the reavers. Awkward piston, steam-powered shunts, and sudden shocks by the ford of the pines in the hollow of the fox. Running hare, though, flows through snow like water over sun by the cliff of the Kite at the peak of the Rowan. Each long line of tracks, a row of inkwells in the white. Oh, a pensive hare. Are you ready for this? Fasten your seatbelts. Look at that owl. Oh my goodness. Remember that icon in the beginning? Owl, Athena's icon, grasping the head of a key. Barn owl. Now I want you to remember this because we're going to be actually relating to it on Friday when we visit with David Sedaris. Barn owl. Below barn owl spreads silence. All sound crouches to the ground, runs for cover, huddles down. Noise is what owl hunts. Drops on, stops dead. Oh my, we're caught in a terrible moment. I'm afraid that bird has had it. Over rushes, across marshes, owl hushes. Will you listen with owl ears for a while? Let the wild words whispers call you in. Look at that, the rings of the inside of a tree and one of our moths at the side of it. heartwood. Would you hew me to the heartwood, cutter? Would you leave me open-hearted? Put an ear to my bark. Hear my saps mutter. Mark my heartwood's beat, my leaves flutter. Would you turn me to timber, cutter? Leave me nothing but a heap of logs, a pile of brush? I am a world cutter. I am a maker of life, drinker of rain, breaker of rocks, caster of shade, eater of sun. I am timekeeper, breath giver, deep thinker. I am a city of butterflies, a country of creatures. But my world takes years to grow and seconds to crash. Your saw can fell me. Your axe can bring me low. Do you hear these words I utter? I ask this. Have you heartwood, cutter? Have those who sent you? A lonely picture, this. Ah, I can tell we're on another track. Curlew of the curved bill, winterbringer, your cry carries clear over quarry, fell, and year. Unearthly song of an eerie singer, a bubbling spring, a wild bell ringer, rippling out across lonely tops and sodden ground, bird of snow, bird of sedge. Low burns the wick now, close draws the edge. I am old and slow, and soon fall asleep. Each time I hear a curlew call, though, the world is sudden with wonder again. Will you, curlew, let me fall and come to rest where your cry echoes off the hill? Oh, look at that, over the marshes. I think we're on to something else. It's a bird we all should recognize. Egret. Ever seen a brighter sight than little egret taking flight? Damn you if you say you have. Rip of paper, blaze of light, none quite matches egret's white. Egret out gleams ice, out flares dynamite and meteorite. Twilight grows, but egret flies on, calm and low of height, scattering night to left and right. Look at that. What's not to love? Gray seal. Go now, sulky boy. Swim for the shore. Rinse your ears clean of human chatter. Empty your bones of heather and more. Your skull of its human matter. He's diving down. Slick is the rock where the waves wash the skerries. Quick are the birds on the teeth of the reef. Blue is the water that beckons, that buries. Deep fall the fathoms beyond your belief. Silky boy, come, join your kin. Eager your kind are to meet you. As salt sets its seal on your silky skin, let green sea rise up to greet you. Hear us and hasten, O sweet silky boy. High are our voices, lifted in song, offering welcome, keening our joy, drawing you down to where you belong. Look at that. Would that we all find the place we belong. Oh. Now what could this be? Gannet. Gannet glides, stiff-winged, sharp-eyed, past cliff and stack. A perfect paper aeroplane, all angles, creases, and points. Next moment, without warning, Gannet hinges, folds, plunges into the calm sea. Now, by Gannet origami, aeroplane is missile, rocket, ocean splitter, electric bolt that shatters water, granite, earthly matter, torpedoing through bedrock mantle core to surface elsewhere. On the planet, look at the Gannet. I can feel the energy, feel the motion. I can take the journey. Well, now where did this come from? Looks like flowers. Thrift. Thrift thrives where most life fails, falls, is cast adrift. High on mountain ridges, sea cliff ledges, island edges. Thrift resists, survives, flower of brinks and rifts, veteran of sheer drops and near misses, queen of in extremis, planting pinkest candy lipstick kisses on basalt columns, granite outcrops. Raven lifts, tumbles, falcon shifts, soars, plummets, storm rumbles, wave sifts, more burns, crag crumbles. So time turns and turns again. So time's song sings on and on. And all the while, humble thrift just grabs along. In small salt marsh, dune, moraine, where going's rough and margins fine, thrift digs in, growing quietly on through drought and rain. Far above the rock pools and the beaches, thrift clings on, a lighthouse keeper for every weather, a seaside saint in her cliff-top niches. Thrift blooms on soil heap and tailings, for thrift knows hardship is a limit, not a failing. Thrift persists beside all odds, and thrift's gifts is, thrift's grace is, to give a glimpse of hope in the tightest of spots, the toughest of places, peeking above it all, the thrift. Oh, more birds. Oh, and they're above thrift. And more. Look at that vanishing center of the bird, and all the way in the back. Do you know what I see? I see a fox silhouetted all the way in the back, hard to see. Got to look closely. That bird was a woodpecker. See? Woodpecker tree wrecker, would you ever give your neck a rest and let the fellow get a piece around here? Oh no, very sorry, but I'm far too busy. Got to check a beech, a hazel, and an ash for beetles, larvae, weevil. I have things to do, my friends. Goodbye, must fly. I guess we know what his attitude is. Overworker, why not shirk a tree or three? You've surely earned the right to take a break from making holes all day and night. Don't concern yourself on my behalf. I'm fine and dandy, thank you kindly, and my modus operandi is to drill until I fill my bill with insect candy. Well, I guess he told him. He's on his way in quick pursuit. Pressure pause, chill out, relax a while, take up a hobby, maybe. Just not drums or carpentry. Ever thought that maybe I might just like to live my life staccato? Love to be the forest's castanet, swooping round from crown to crown in my tuxedo, tapping out my Morse code alphabet. Chisel gouger, head banger, box stripper, grub picker, nerve shredder. The kicker, Mr. Woodpecker, is you're boring me to death. Kindly cease your castanation. Boring is my occupation. Setting up reverberation from amid the vegetation is to me not aberration, but a sweet intoxication. A woodpecker after my own heart. Each and every excavation doubles up my irritation, expedites deforestation, saves us all some enervation, undertake a transformation, quit your tumbling, tunneling, fixation, remedy the situation. Get yourself some ear protection, for I abhor procrastination, must perfect my perforations, put my skull in oscillation, sending out my good vibrations all throughout our forest nations. So there. And there. And the trees grow on. Beech. Look at that. Beech gives wind speech. Each branch reaches to other branches as the gale rises. Each leaf dances with other leaves as the storm crashes. Can you hear that inland sea? Its slow explosion. High in the hill woods, huge surf breaks far from any ocean. It's a wonderful place on Nantucket Island. I did a painting of it once. It's Harp of the Four Winds. And literally it's a hillock, and there are these barren trees that have blown to the shape of the wind. It's really quite wondrous, almost like that. Look at that. Swallow, Soft this evening I lay listening to my child breathing slow and shallow in the darkness of her sleep. When, without warning, I fell deep into the gap that opened between her breaths. All the world was halted in that cold, steep-sided space. The stars unshining, sun undawning, trees ungrowing, birds transfixed, midair, mid-song. Light failed, heart lurched, color fled, grief beckoned. Life, dear life, suspended in that second for an age. Only saved when you flew low into the shadow swallow, streamers flowing, closing up that chasm with your swooping, sowing flight. With a stroke, the stars renewed their burning in the black, the sun its turning, trees their leafing, birds their singing, she breathed in again. And life poured back with the coming of the birds. Who's looking at me that way? Silver birch, a lullaby. Snow is falling, my silver seeker. Soon the path will be lost to sight. Soon the day will give way to night. Here is an artful symmetry. We started with the red fox. We're getting close to the end, and the red fox is back. Ice is forming, my silver seeker. Soon the streams will be fastened tight. Soon the shadows will claim the night. Look over your shoulder at where you have been. The edge of the wood can no longer be seen. Can you see? He is looking over his shoulder. Vast is the forest and slender your track. Harder it grows to find your way back. Oh, the trees and the snow. Even as the dusk gets dimmer, still the birch trunks glow like torches. Still the birch bark holds its glimmer. Rest your head now, silver seeker. Close your eyes and cease your searches. Where the blackbird brightly perches, where the catkin softly brushes, here among the gleaming birches. Break of dawn is far away, but you are safe, my silver sleeper, safe to sink down deep and deeper. I'm back to eyes again. In the night, the birches watch you with their black, unblinking eyes, standing guard and keeping vigil while you make your dreaming journeys. Round and round the dangers prowl, wolves and monsters, worries, witches, but the birches stand like churches as the dark around them surges. circles, crouches, clutches, lunges, but breaks its power on the birches, branches. Held at bay until at last the sun emerges, warms the pines, the larches, lights your yawns, your stretches, there among the silver birches. And look. And what I told you about at the end of the book is this wonderful glossary. We won't go through it, but if there were things in here that you didn't quite know what they were, the clue is in their name. Follow their name to the glossary, and you will actually see numbers, and they're connected to names of what they are. And the suggestion is made, you know, the next time you go into a secret place, a forest place, take this book of spells with you. See if you can identify things in reality that you've seen in mystery and you've seen in the lost spells by Robert MacFarlane and Jackie Morris. I'll see you on Friday. Have a good rest of the week. Till then.